As you may have gathered from our New Zealand road trip so far, it's a country full of stunning sceneries. One such aspect of the magnificent landscapes in this country are glaciers, and in this video I've come to the west coast of the South Island, which is also known as Glacier Country, to see some of these glaciers up close. Now, there's many ways to see glaciers in this area. You can get like helicopter tours and scenic flights and so on. But as you can imagine, they're very, very expensive. I think to get a helicopter tour, you're looking at like 800 New Zealand dollars, which is like what, 400 quid? So yeah, very expensive. So we're going to do the more affordable thing of just like walking up to a few viewpoints and seeing how the glaciers are. Okay, enough waffling, let's go and see the first glacier of the day. So we've just made it to the car park for the Franz Josef Glacier, and I've got to say, I'm very happy that it's a clear day today. Yesterday when I was here, it was raining all day, it was so overcast, I thought there's no way we'd be seeing glaciers, but thankfully today's clear. Apparently this is one of the wettest places in New Zealand, so thankfully the weather is on our side today. So the viewpoint for where you can see the glacier from changes every day, depending on weather conditions. And like I said, we're lucky with the weather today. Seems like we can get up pretty close. So there's a few paths you can take here from the car park up to the Franz Josef Glacier. We're going to do the glacier view at the end of the first walk. It's only 30 minutes return, so a very, very short walk. And there it is, Franz Josef Glacier up there in the mountains. Sadly, this is as far up as we can get to it. It's about 3 kilometers away from this point. So previously you were able to carry on walking down the path here and go all the way up to the glacier. However, due to erosion and like the unstable rocks in this area, they've closed the path off. So this is as far as you can get. So the glacier used to come all the way up here about 100 years ago. This whole thing would have been covered in ice. It's actually quite a useful sign that shows you what the glacier used to look like. But obviously, due to global warming, the glacier has receded, like it has pretty much everywhere else in the world. So the Franz Josef Glacier is also part of the Southern Alps, which is also where Mount Cook is. If you watch my previous video, you'll know that I spent some time in the Mount Cook National Park. And frustratingly, the glacier is only about maybe 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers away from Mount Cook. But to get from Mount Cook National Park to Franz Josef, we had to drive about 6 hours all the way around the Southern Alps, which was about 500 kilometers. It was a very long drive we did about 2 days ago. So yeah, it's a bit annoying considering if you fly over it, it's what, a 5-minute, 10-minute ride? But to drive over it took us 6 hours. As you can see, there are a lot of walks you can do around this area. Probably the best one is the Roberts Point walk. But as you can see, it's an all-day walk. And today we're planning to see other things, so we don't really have time for it. So we're done with the Franz Josef Glacier. Now it's time to move on to the Fox Glacier, which is about a 20-minute drive from here. It was actually much longer than a 20-minute drive, probably closer to 50. I don't know if you could tell, but the roads were very, very windy. But we've made it here to the Fox Glacier viewpoint. Let's see how it compares to Franz Josef. And there it is, Fox Glacier. Even though we're much further away from the glacier at this viewpoint compared to where we were at Franz Josef, you can see it much more clearly. I'm so glad it's a clear day. And then if I pan slightly to my right, behind the clouds over there is Mount Cook. Once again, we have been forced by the clouds on seeing Mount Cook. What also helps with the Fox Glacier viewpoint is that you literally park right at the viewpoint. So there's the car park there. And then the glacier itself is just over there. So if you're feeling lazy, this is the perfect place to come. It's pretty cool seeing a glacier, even if we're a bit far away. Back in the UK, we have nothing like this. Sadly, our mountains don't go that high. I think the tallest mountain is what, Ben Nevis, and that's like 1,500 meters. So yeah, I feel pretty special to be here. So it's pretty quiet over here, and there's a few picnic benches nearby. So I think we're going to sit here, have some lunch, and see if the clouds clear to get a better view of the glacier and the surrounding mountains. So we've had lunch and waited about half an hour, and if anything, the cloud cover has got worse. So we're going to move on to the next location, which is Lake Matheson. And you might be thinking, what has that got to do with glaciers? I'll explain very shortly in a moment. Actually, before I head off, one thing I forgot to mention is that there are walks you can do that get you close up to Fox Glacier. So I think the best walk is the Fox Glacier walk, which is about a 2-hour walk. It's supposedly very easy. But if you're on a time crunch to see multiple places like we are today, then the viewpoint is good enough. Okay, now let's head towards Lake Matheson. So we've made it to Lake Matheson, which was about a 5-minute drive down the road. And when I say down the road, I mean literally down the road. It's the same piece of road. There's a cafe right here at the car park if you want a break and a few snacks. But we're going to go ahead and explore the lake. Like most attractions here in the South Island of New Zealand, there are multiple walks you can do. I think we're going to do the Jessie Lookout purely because we're a bit tight on time and we want to make it back to Franz Josef before sunset. So why am I visiting Lake Matheson when this whole video is about hunting for glaciers? So the primary reason is because Lake Matheson is very close to Fox Glacier. Like I said, it's literally 5 minutes down the road. But also, Lake Matheson is a glacial lake. It was formed by Fox Glacier during the last ice age when the glacier retreated, leaving a lake behind. So the lake is about 12 kilometers away from where the bottom of the glacier is now. So that hopefully gives you an idea of how massive these glaciers would have been during the last ice age. Here we are at Lake Matheson. This is the Jessie Lookout. There's a further lookout called the View of Views, which is supposed to give a bit of a better view, especially with the mountains in the backdrop. However, as you can see, it's pretty cloudy, so you can't see the top of the mountains. So there's no point really going any further to get a better view. And also, like I said, we're on a time crunch. But yeah, hopefully you can appreciate this view. This lake is famous mainly because of the reflections it gives of the mountains, which you can sort of see even if it is a bit cloudy. So if you do come to Fox Glacier, it's well worth just driving 5 minutes up to see Lake Matheson. I guess that brings an end to my day of glacier hunting. Apparently Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier are some of the most accessible glaciers in the world. The bottom of both glaciers go to about 300 meters above sea level, so it's probably why it's so popular with tourists. Like I said, there's many activities you can do. You can go on a helicopter ride, you can skydive over it, you could hike on the glaciers, but they are quite expensive. And considering my whole backpacking trip is 3 months, I don't really have the funds to spend all that money on one activity. But regardless, I've had a good time going to these viewpoints and seeing the glaciers, as well as Lake Matheson. Like I said, it's something I don't really get back home in the UK, so it's lovely to come out here and see this. We're going to go back now and rest up because tomorrow we have a very long drive ahead of us, so make sure you subscribe to see that video whenever it comes out. I hope you guys are well, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time for the next episode of my New Zealand adventure.